something of a lack of available sites, so we selected one at random from the Caravan Club handbook, which had the main benefits of being relatively near and open. Amberley Fields near Gatwick, of which more later. It's not a big site, and during the winter only the hard standings are open. This particular turtle has an awning, a modified gazebo, which was easy to put up, although I put it up on the wrong side first, assuming that it went up where the awning light was. Oh dear. But at least it was light enough and easy enough for the two of us to lift and walk around to the right side, where we finished off the assembly reasonably easily. And in the morning, we had at Gatwick a perfectly pleasant night's sleep. The planes seemed to stop at around 10:30ish, and they didn't start again until around 6:30, so we were just about awake when the first one we noticed taking off. They are quite loud, but you can get used to it. It's not really a big issue. The caravan itself, well, we slept like logs. I don't know whether that was because we had a busy day, but it certainly wasn't a problem sleeping in this 4-foot wide, essentially bed on wheels. It was very comfortable. The thing that we've got with this little travel trailer is a very adequate awning. It's a gazebo in fact, and it's one of those types with the automatic erecting top so that it's easy to put up. Actually putting up the gazebo itself took us about 5 or 8 minutes. It's not a big issue. But what takes a bit more time of course is adjusting it, getting it just right and pegging it down, because whatever you do, pegging it down is always a job. So once you're inside here, you've then got a decent bit of living space to go with this bit of sleeping space. Once you're inside the little caravan and in your pit, it's really quite comfortable. You've got all the space you need. I suppose that if you suffered from claustrophobia, you would be suffering a bit now. But in fact, from my point of view, this is a perfectly comfortable place to spend a night. Night night. One very cute idea that Terry Smith has come up with on these trailers is to attach the gazebo to the actual vehicle in a very simple way. It's got a few poppers around the sides, so the poppers actually are attached to the caravan. The awning or the gazebo has a panel with poppers attached, and they fit in together. In fact, the only thing on this particular model that's gone wrong is he fitted the poppers on this side for display purposes and the awning light is on the other side. So you'd have to make sure that the two matched up in future. Or maybe that you had poppers on both sides so that you could decide which side to put the awning on once you're on your pitch. The gazebo goes together very simply. The panels are actually attached to each other by means of a Velcro strip. So that means it's straightforward to assemble. The only problem that you sometimes have is getting the panels to match up, because there are zips to join each panel and you need those over the corner poles. One of the few odd features about this little caravan is that it doesn't have a handbrake, and there's no braking system on the van. It doesn't need one, it's too light. So you rest on the jockey wheel and on the main two wheels because the centre of gravity is well forward, it doesn't need steadies. But what you could do with is some form of braking. In fact, we've got a pair of wheel chocks that seem to do the job jolly well. And I guess if you're careful, you can always pick somewhere that's reasonably flat to park on. Inside, surprise surprise, it's really rather comfortable. There's a main system with a couple of sockets inside, and one's in use for the simple tubular heater installed specially for tonight. There's a power panel and a Swish entertainment system. There's also a very neat winder to elevate the roof opening, which also has a fly screen and a blind. There's a small cargo locker at the front end. In this side we've got space for the wheel lock, and we can stack the electric cable on top of that. Got a leisure battery. This is only a small one, but it would take a bigger one, and you've got your battery charger, etc., and your power point. The power actually comes in through the cable normally, and you can just shut the lid on top of the cable, and in fact you can lock it quite safely. We've got on very well with the little kitchen, and as long as you can survive on a single ring burner, you'll do nicely too. Of course, you could have a George Foreman grill plugged into the mains, which would give you grilling capacity, and you could have an electric kettle as well, so you could do quite nicely. So, what's our verdict on the Teardrop Trailers Turtle 1200? Well, I think we're uniformly pretty impressed with it. It's designed specifically for people who don't want all the bells and whistles, but who do want to be able to get away with a minimum of fuss, bother and fol-de-rah. It's pretty comfortable. We slept in there in considerable comfort. It's the beginning of March. We had a very small greenhouse style tube heater, which we had to switch off at about 2 o'clock in the morning because we were too hot.